we go through this time of new beginning, we don't quite know what's happening. There are a lot of surprises. And there's going to be, I think, a few surprises ahead for us this afternoon as we begin to feel and absorb and take into ourselves energies of new beginning. Because this new beginning is reflected out there in our communities, in our societies, in the world at large. But it's also taking place within a cellular level and within a DNA level deep within us, which is what we're really going to talk about this afternoon. But what is happening on the inner planes is always reflected out there on the outer planes and in our lives, okay? So I want you to put your hand up now if everything is really great in your life and you're really happy about everything that's going on. Put your hand up. If life is giving you lemonade. And if at the moment, and be honest, if at the moment life is giving you a few lemons, put your hand up too. Yeah. And that's the nature of life, really, isn't it? Sometimes we have this beautiful lemonade in life to drink, and sometimes it's like lemons. So, I want to go back to go forward. And before I go back to go forward, I just want to explain a little bit about my going back to go forward, my path. Okay, so for some of you who don't know me and don't know what I do, I want to just give a little brief explanation. So if I go back 20 years ago, I was a marketing and PR consultant in New Zealand. Probably hear my accent, although I lived quite a bit of the time in the US now. But I was born in New Zealand and lived there for many years. I still call New Zealand home. And 20 years ago I was a PR and marketing consultant, and just out of the blue I got a brochure in the mail about a Learn to Channel, Learn to Connect to Spirit course in Auckland where I lived. And I felt compelled to go along. So I went along and I met within my inner sight and I shook with the energy, very strongly with energy, of a being who called himself Balthazar. And when I tuned into my inner sight and I saw through my inner vision, I saw him as a tall man with a purple robe and a little black beard and dark eyes, and he had brownish-looking skin. And the only thing that told me that something real was happening is the fact that I shook really violently with energy. I couldn't control it. And when his energy connected with me, I spoke in a strange accent. I didn't speak the way I normally speak. So my first introduction to spirit and connecting to spirit was to this Balthazar person, who then told me he was one of the Magi in a previous lifetime, one of the 3 wise men who had been at the birth of Jesus, bringing the gold, the frankincense and the myrrh in the Christian tradition. So I believed it because I felt the energy, okay? How many of you feel the energy of spirit around us when we, not necessarily now, but in your day-to-day life? Just put your hand up if you feel the energy of spirit talking to you or around you, some of you. So, fast forward. 5 years later, after doing energy healing work and working with my mind, that is, with a lot of beings of light, like angels, ascended masters, I started to speak automatically a very strange sounding language. We could call it the language of light, but really there are many different languages of light. Many people, we all can speak these languages. It's just that I've been trained by spirit to speak certain dialects of these languages. And the reason for me speaking these languages is to clear what's called karmic miasmic distortion, which is discordant energy locked into our energy fields and on all levels of our being from past life trauma. And the other reason that Spirit prepared me to speak these languages was to rewire people's energy fields and to do healing on quite deep levels. And I also trained at that time as an energy healer, working in the human energy field. So this language just started happening. It started coming out of my mouth on New Year's Day 2002, just automatically, when I was at a big spiritual event in New Zealand. And it quite surprised me, and I had my eyes very tightly shut as I was burbling these words. And I heard this laughter start to erupt all around me. Everybody was sitting at a big marquee, you see, and I told them that some sort of energy was going to come through from spirit, but I didn't know what it was. So as I opened one little eye to see who was laughing, because there was a lot of laughter, I noticed that some people were sitting absolutely unable to move and they were crying. And some people, they just were completely sitting there open mouthed, because it was the energy that was coming through that was doing something quite miraculous. Not me. I wasn't doing it. I was a conduit for it. And since that time, I've been a conduit for energies, first coming from the Elohim of the creation aspect of God, and from the galactic council of this galaxy. But now what's happened is that we are not just looking at this galaxy as a source of energy. We are looking or working with star energies, or energies of creation, from what is called the heart center of 22 galaxies, configured together in the cosmos in the form of a diamond. So these 22 galaxies are literally held together by lines of force, by energy magnetics in the cosmos, and the generative, regenerative energies of regenesis are now coming through, and they will get stronger and stronger between the years 2017 to 2033, more and more stronger, ever stronger. These energies of new creation, both for all the galaxies in this 22 galaxy matrix, and for our Milky Way galaxy, and for the Earth, and for us as human beings living on the Earth. This is a very special time we're living in. It's a time of recreation. So I started to speak these languages 20 years ago, really. And now, having gone through that 20-year period of preparation, we're at the beginning of a new cycle. This new cycle is the switching on of our true human 12-strand DNA genetic potential. So I want to go back now and I want to tell you a story, way back in time. And it's a story about Tara. Tara, T-A-R-A, was the name of the Earth before it fell in vibration from 5th dimension to 3rd dimension. And we go back a long time ago. And Tara was a pristine, beautiful star, planet in this galaxy, this Milky Way galaxy. Very evolved, very special, very light-filled. What happened was that some of the angelics and some extraterrestrial races found their way to this very special high vibrational planet called Tara. And they corrupted the pure consciousness energy of Tara, and also of many of the inhabitants who lived on Tara. And so Tara became like a bit of a melting pot of duality. We see this reflected in our Earth today. And over a very long period of time, because planets and stars they're what's called inanimate, which means they're not living, but they still have consciousness. They still have a vibratory force field, vibration. And the vibration of the purity that was Tara gradually diminished in its frequency. And Tara, 5th dimensional Tara, became 3rd dimensional Earth. So there was a great deal of sadness that went on among the other more evolved star nations within this galaxy. And there are many. You know, we talk about Sirius, Lyra. Lyra's 12th dimensional, Sirius is 5th dimensional. We're not alone here. And governments and people around the planet are now realising that we are not alone on the Earth. And a lot of people are beginning to say that, yeah, extraterrestrials are true. You see, they set up what's called a galactic council or a galactic federation. And the Galactic Council or the Galactic Federation was set up after Tara became Earth. because he didn't want anything like that to happen to any other star or planet in this galaxy. And they banded together and they began to protect this galaxy from harm. But there was a group of extraterrestrials, more than one group of extraterrestrials actually, who did come to the Earth, and they did enslave the peoples of the Earth way back in that beginning time. And the people on Earth who were of that pure Tara stock, that root race, they eventually they diminished in consciousness to such an extent that the Galactic Council of this Milky Way galaxy were in quite a state of despair. And we go back now to around 100,000 years ago, when the star nations of this galaxy got together on a star called Antares. Antares is a very beautiful star. It's to do with, it's one of the royal stars in this galaxy, and it's to do with balance, vibration, unity. And they had a meeting there, and they decided that they needed to do something to upgrade the people on the planet Earth. And what they decided to do was to introduce a new type of species. And they called this new type of species the human, because Hu is a sound which means of God. And this new human species was designed in a very special way with the highest genetics, the highest genetic codings of many of the star nations within this galaxy. From the Pleiadians, the human being was given heart, compassion, love, the ability to love deeply and to be deeply loved and to feel deep compassion for others. From the Syrians, they got the genetic coding. The Syrians were masters of genetics, so they knew how to design. They're very advanced with genetic engineering. From the Lyrans, they got a lot of the genetic coding also, but also the ability to vision, to envision, and to create. And from the Arcturians, they got compassion also, emotion, a very finely tuned emotional body. So basically, these star nations within this galaxy gave the best of their own genetic code to create the human being. So you could say that as people on the Earth, we are actually extraterrestrials, you see, because we carry within our DNA extraterrestrial DNA from the stars. Now, when we first came to Earth in human bodies, it could have been way, way back when Tara. We weren't in human bodies then, we were in bodies equipped for Tara. But many of you may have also been incarnated on Tara before it fell in dimension, fell in consciousness. It may be one reason why you so strongly want to get things right on this planet Earth now and bring Earth back into a redeemed fifth-dimensional state. And the people of the Earth to help advance the people of the Earth. Now, going back to my story now, if I go back to 1998, I was just starting to explore this. I didn't know anything of what I'm telling you now. It's all been told to me step by step in the last 20 years. As I've come to understand a piece, more has been shown to me. So I want to make sure that I'm not speaking too much at one time. I'm just trying to give a real picture of where we were, where we've come, what we've come through in the last 20 years, and where we're here now, why we're here now. So 20 years ago, I was an energy healer. I was training in energy healing, healing in the human energy field. I was also working as a channel, so I would give channel readings to people, and from somewhere out of the blue, all this information would come through about people and what was going on for them that I hadn't the faintest idea where I was receiving it from. You know, that's how it works. You are an instrument, really. You're not the message. You're just the messenger. You're the messenger. So today I'm being a messenger too. In the second part, I'm being a messenger. But right now, I go back to the story that I want to tell you 20 years ago. And I've been to a meeting and I've been talking about energy healing. And I've been demonstrating healing in the human energy field with some of the people there at that meeting. And that night, it was a Sunday night, I got a call on the phone, and the person on the other end of the line said, "Judy, it's Alvin." And I said, "Oh, Alvin, I'd met you that day," you see, and he had a problem with his knee. "What's wrong?" "I've got these waves of energy going through my body," said Alvin, "and I feel really like I feel I'm going to throw up, and I don't know what's going on with me. Can I come and see you?" And he lived around the corner, so in about 15 minutes he was there. And I got him to come in, and I said, "Lie down on the massage table and I'll check the chakras." And in those days I used to hold a pendulum like this over each of the chakras to see which way it would spin. I didn't have the faintest idea what was going on with Alvin. And then I thought, oh, I'll hold his feet and see what happens. So Alvin was lying on the table, ooh, like this with his eyes shut. So I held onto his feet, and I got a message telepathically in my head, and this is how it works. And the message said, "He has an entity." And I thought, oh my goodness, what do I do now? So I prayed to all the angels that I could think of and all the ascended masters that I could drum up, and I said, "Please help Alvin." So I didn't know what to do. I was just the messenger, you know. So then what happened was this big blast of energy came down Alvin's body, through my body and out through my feet. And Alvin looked like he had cardiac electrodes put on his chest, and his whole body went, oof, jumped up on the table, and then he just lay there with his eyes shut. And he didn't say anything. But I was very happy to see he was still breathing. So he was lying there with his eyes shut. And after a couple of minutes, I said very tentatively, "Are you okay?" And he said, "I can't open my eyes." He said, "I'm out in the universe." And he said, "I'm out on a spaceship. And I can't open my eyes. I'm looking out the windows of a spaceship, and I can see the Earth, and I can see all these stars around me, and there's these really weird-looking beings, strange-looking beings standing around." And anyway, so for the next 2 hours, I rushed away and got a piece of paper. I wrote down everything that he told me. You could see these strange hieroglyphic symbols on the inside of the spaceship. And the predominant colours were cobalt blue, gold, and red. Now, if you know anything about ancient Egypt, they were the predominant colours in 18th dynasty Egypt. You know, if you go to the pyramids and the temples in Egypt, it's all gold, cobalt blue, red, you see. Because 18th dynasty king, Pharaoh, Akhenaten, and he really was very much a game player, a pharaoh who came to bring to earth the one God principle, which is the understanding that the God is within us, the true God is within us. So he upset the priests of Thebes a great deal, and of course he got destroyed in the end because they didn't like it. But Alvin talked about all this, you see, and then I said to him, "Do they have a message for me?" Because I was quite nosy, you know. And he said, "They say that you have certain energies, and they say that your role is to recode the DNA." Well, that was news to me, because I didn't actually know anything about the DNA, except what I learned in biology at school, which wasn't much. I knew about the double helix. That's all. That is 18 years ago now. And now, if we go fast forward to 2017, what I'm actually doing is beginning to work with the DNA, recoding the DNA, just what they said. So everything that I've done in the last 20 years has been preparation, energy preparation, to get people ready. So here today in Singapore is this new beginning, this regenesis is about to start. And regenesis is about bringing more energy and vitality, first through our physical body. But we have to be ready to pull that energy through our physical bodies. And for some of us, that is some of you, that has probably meant a bit of breaking down of the physical body. Who in the last 2 years has found it that your physical body, you've got a bit sicker? You aches and pains and all sorts of issues have come up for you, physically and or emotionally or in your life. At times, not all the time. Because this is part of the course. This karmic miasmic pattern, this energy distortion of past life trauma, as it starts to release, as it starts to release from deeply rooted facets within our chakras, as it starts to release from our energy fields and energy systems, it vibrates. And the same thoughts and feelings and physical issues that we may have experienced in some previous lifetime, or more than one previous lifetime, come up strongly before this old energy clears. So don't be concerned if you feel like you're getting unwell. It is a process. And I've been through that process myself. In the last few years, at times I have felt quite unwell. But I don't feel that anymore. When I'm going through big changes energetically, I tend to feel it again, temporarily, and then I just come right. So that would not happen if there was a real organic, long-term illness within us. It only happens temporarily while we're clearing something and then we come right. So this is what Alvin said to me all that time ago. Now going back to Tara, the earth, as the earth was called, all that, probably before 400,000 years ago. When the Galactic Council and the star beings decided to create the new human, a cry went out throughout those nations like Sirius or Pleiades. And the request was, are you prepared to let go of your Sirian, Pleiadian stroke bodies to be born upon the earth? Because when you go to earth, you will be locked into this cycle of life and death, reincarnation. You can't get out of it again until the earth shifts into this faster pulsating energy that we call the fifth dimension. Now this has happened. It began to happen around probably 500 years ago, really. And it began to accelerate at the turn of the 20th century. And you can see the changes, how the changes on the planet Earth have gone like this. And they're still going like this. We can't keep up with technology because it's advancing so quickly. It's part of a plan. It's part of God's plan. It's part of a divine plan that this should occur at this time. Around 1987, there was a sudden influx of the energies coming into the Earth from the galactic centre. Because at the centre of each of these 22 galaxies, it's like a force, a magnetic pull, a magnetic pulling force, and a pushing force of energy, both. So the magnetic pull holds all these stars and planets within the galaxy in a formation. And in our Milky Way galaxy, we have the galactic centre, and all the stars and planets circle this galactic centre. One complete circling, we call it an arc of precession, one complete circle takes 25,920 years, nearly 26,000 years. And we are at the end and the new beginning of a new 26,000 year great age within this galaxy. Now, on roundabout the 21st of December 2012, the complete shift of the Earth to the fifth dimension completed, basically. But it is still changing. It didn't just stop there. In the last 4 years, since December 2012, we have gone through 4 minor cycles of getting ready for something that's coming in 2017. These minor cycles have been like water, fire, earth, and air, a bit like a mini creation cycle. And that's why for so many of us there's been major new creation things happen in our lives in this period of time. 2013, 14, 15, 16. Big changes for many people. Do you relate to this? Yeah. And I have also experienced that in my own life. A lot of adaptation, a lot of change, a lot of releasing of old patterns that no longer serve us. So we're now here in November 2016, getting ready for a whole new 17-year cycle that is coming very soon. So I feel that I'm here today in Singapore with you all, really so Spirit can bring through energy and I think relieve my mind about what I'm supposed to be doing, to be honest. Because they tell me that for the next 17 years I have to bring through all these energies to do with DNA recoding. And as Judy, I haven't the faintest idea what it is or how I'm meant to do it. You see? Because I'm the messenger, the conduit. I'm just trusting, like you trusted when you came here today. Something made you come here today. It's not really to hear me talk. It's because there's some inner knowing within you that there's something you need to hear, probably. There's some inner knowing within you that you have a role to play. There's something you need to do in this very special time that's ahead for us, particularly now, 2017 to 2033. This is a powerful new time, and we're going to see it reflected in powerful changes out there on the earth. And they don't look that rosy, in many countries right now, do they? It is. You only have to open the newspaper and you see tragedy, pain, loss, sadness, everywhere. What can we do about it? Spirit are doing something about it. And what they're doing is they're shaking everything up and they're changing the status quo. And as they shake everything loose, they're saying to us, let go of your previous perceptions about life and what you think life is. Go into your heart and connect to the truth of your own knowing. Don't rely on what somebody else says, even me. Don't rely on what somebody else says. You know, you are the God within you. Follow and connect to the God of your own intuition, the God of your own higher self. And when we as people join together in peace, the vibrations of peace, love and unity, knowing that we're all the same, then had just been demonstrated in the USA. It was the power of the people, the power of all those votes for change that tipped the balance. We can bring the power of our own united creation energy of peace, love and oneness and goodwill, which will also tip the balance. We look at Mahatma Gandhi and what he managed to change in India. He didn't do it with fighting, he didn't do it with anger, he did it with peace and peaceful demonstration. So when we deliberately create vibrations of peace within our being, love within our heart, and intention for what we want to create, and we unify that like the 100 monkey principle, we unify and expand those vibrations, we, all the people of the planet, can be a powerful force for change. Spirit want to bring through a prayer for that to occur. So would you shut your eyes and connect with the thought or the feeling that prompted you to come here today? Why did you come? Connect to that thought or that feeling within you. There's a reason. Because you can make a difference. You can make a difference with how you think. The thoughts and the vibrations that you put out into the world. And thoughts are a powerful force for change. Natia means you are loved, you are blessed. You are loved, you are blessed, and so it is. That these energies are coming from the God creation energy at the heart centre of 22 galaxies configured together in a diamond-shaped grouping. Diamond-shaped because it's to do with above being reflected below. As above, so below. As above, so below. We are here below on the earth, but we are not below in stature. What that means is our souls are high vibrational loving souls. And we must remember this and not over-identify with our physical selves in this lifetime. This is not about being an ego about who we think we are. It's about understanding our inner strength and our capacity to create. We have come to the earth as creators. God creators in human bodies. And as God creators, we need to learn to use our mind, to use our thinking capacities. Our thinking capacities and our emotional feeling creation capacities. This is the powerhouse that will change not only our reality, but the reality on earth. Because it's not so much about doing. Doing comes later. But first we must be. We must be the change that we want to have manifested in everything about our lives. If we want a relationship, we must be the qualities within ourselves that we wish to attract from a mate, a partner. If we want money, we must not fear money, we must have a positive expectation about money and see money as an energy to do good within the world. And know that a great avalanche of financial supply awaits us. If we want perfect health, then we must not be in fear of not having good health. Because if we are in fear of not having good health, that is what we will receive. We must imagine and visualize ourselves as radiantly healthy, as vital, as energized, as young and getting younger and younger with each passing day. And not take the mind down a little journey of its own, which is sabotaging everything that we dream of. The first step in recreating our world is recreating ourselves. And when we align our energies with the energies of Spirit, the energies of God that are wanting to come through, miracles and magic will happen. So just shut your eyes again. This is a blessing. This is a blessing from the Council of Light, which is like the God energy at the heart of the 22 galaxies. And they say to us all, be the master, be the masters that you are. Don't diminish yourself any longer. Life is still about chopping wood and carrying water, but it's more than that. It's about deliberately creating energies of peace and sending them to every cell of the body. Let's do that just to finish off this meditation. With your eyes shut, create a feeling of peace. The most peaceful feeling that you can create. And imagine that you're sending that peace energy out like the rays of the sun through every cell of your body. Just send that peace energy out through every cell of your body. And now create the feeling of love, which is a slightly different vibration to peace. Feel and create the vibration of love. And send that out through every cell of the body. And then feel and create the vibration of joy. And see yourself as joyful, radiant, energized, strong, healthy, vibrant, young, strong, achieving exactly what you want to achieve in this lifetime. Being happy and well. Understand when we create these mental pictures within our mind and deliberately send the energy vibrations of that particular consciousness, we are entraining ourselves into those vibrations. And as we entrain ourselves into those vibrations, we become those vibrations. And then we attract that energy to us in our life. And then life changes. So when you're ready, just come back with your eyes open. Back with your eyes open. And rub your hands together. You put them gently over your eyes. Tara, which was Earth. Okay? Tara was not Earth. Tara was Tara. Tara became Earth. Tara was a fifth-dimensional star, beautiful, beautiful, pristine planet. And it descended in consciousness and vibration, which means it didn't go down, it actually contracted in, you see? Contracted in the vibration. And the beings who lived on Tara at that time also contracted in their consciousness and vibration, even though they were high loving souls when they first got there. You see, we are calibrated to the vibration of the planet on which we live. And this is why when Earth shifted to this faster pulsating energy now, the fifth dimension, we are being recalibrated to handle that energy. Because in all of the lifetimes that we've had on Earth prior to this, our physical bodies have been confined, if you like, into the density of third dimensional vibration. And Earth has always been a school of hard knocks, like a training ground for soul, really. And it has always been, since it descended from Tara to Earth, contracted down, it's always been a place of duality. Because all these nasty extraterrestrials and fallen angels, they came to Earth to hang out and hide out, basically. So it brought the whole tone of the place down. You understand? Well, it was not a great place. But around 100,000 years ago, the star councils of this galaxy, the Galactic Council, thought we've got to do something about this. How can we redeem these poor fallen people on Earth and get Earth back to this wonderful pristine energy of Tara? The only way they could do it, because the genetic code of the existing people, of the people on Earth at that time, couldn't be reached, it wasn't advanced enough, was to create a more advanced genetic species called the human, seed these human species on Earth, so that at the end of 4 great cycles of 26,000 years, which is now, these Earth beings that have a much more powerful DNA potential, a 12-strand DNA potential, hasn't been operating like that, it's only been operating like 3 strands basically. Now that true DNA potential, which is inherent within all of humanity, because there's been all this intermarriage, interbreeding over 100,000 years, everybody holds human DNA now. This true genetic capacity is about to be advanced. And this is, I don't believe this is a tall story, because they wouldn't have trained me for 20 years to get me to this point if there wasn't something coming. You know, it's been a step-by-step process. And I've just surrendered to it and gone along with it, really. And I guess because there's a part of me that knew that's why I came. Like, there's a part of you, you're sitting here today because there's a part of you that knows you've got something to do. And you might not exactly know what it is, but believe me, we have to be ready to do it when it comes, you see. So here we are now at the beginning of a new 5th age with fifth dimensional vibration, and because we as human beings are calibrated to our home, which is Earth, we are calibrated to this 5th dimensional vibration. We're recalibrating. And this is why the last 4 years have been a bit demanding for a lot of people, because this recalibration hasn't taken 4 cycles of 26,000 years, it's taken 4 short Earth linear years, which is not a long time. So it's been a bit up and down, hasn't it, life, for us? Because as we've gone through these inner changes have been reflected on the outer surface of our life. And I don't know many people that haven't gone through major change on some level in the last 4 years, particularly those of us who are, have a role to, things to do, basically. Not everybody on the planet is at the same place and the same energy stage as all of you in this room. We've all got different reasons, there's different seasons, there's different reasons for being. We're learning different things. On a soul level, we're learning different things at the same time. But those of us who came to the Earth to be here at this very special time on Earth are being activated. See? So the second half of the program today is about moving into some of this activation. So if any questions about anything that I've said in the first hour, about the big picture, maybe we leave them till the end, but they might get covered in the next hour, I think. Okay? So just to explain, Regenesis is about a new beginning. The new beginning is a new beginning of Earth, 5th dimensional Earth now. It's like a return to Tara. It's a activation of the true human DNA potential. Because the human being in time will be able to live, exist within 12 dimensions of reality, within what's called the lower heavenly worlds, where consciousness, which is souls, can take on a physical form of expression. So I'm speaking about all the planets and star systems that have life in other dimensions. And a dimension is just like an envelope of light. It's like a vibratory force field. If we, in our third or fifth dimensional state, look up at the sky and want to see Lyra, which is 12th dimensional, we don't see 12th dimensional Lyra. We see the vibratory level or the vibratory rate that we can actually perceive with our physical selves. See? So that's how it works. Let's move on then. About human DNA. So I want to keep this really simple. So I want to explain the DNA, human DNA, as being a bit like a recipe book for human life. It's a bit like the recipe book. Okay. So the DNA is the coding. DNA is like a linear coding of words. And the words in the genetic language throughout this galaxy, not just here on Earth, there are 4 letters in the genetic language within this galaxy. And as people on Earth, we have called them A for adenine, G for guanine, C for cytosine, and T for thymine. Scientists have called these chemical coding compositions, if you like, nucleotides. So each of these words called adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine, A, G, C, and T, are letters of this DNA alphabet within this galaxy. Now, we can put these letters together to make 64 different combinations. Like it might be ACT, AGG, you know. So these combinations of letters are configured together in bases called codons. And each of these bases has 3 letters, like out of these 4. Does that make sense? So there's only 4 letters in this alphabet, and they're put together in different configurations in 3-letter bases. So each of these bases within the DNA, these genetic words, have only 3 letters, but they're comprised from a 4-letter alphabet. Okay? 3 letters, bases, words, made up from a 4-letter DNA alphabet. And they are called nucleotides. And the nucleotides, they spell out long strings of, I'll start this bit again, I'm not explaining very well. These words, which we call the genetic language or the DNA language, they have to be translated to make them protein amino acid structure in the body. But the DNA language is actually the coding or the recipe for everything about our physical bodies and everything that makes us human, you see. Not just the physical, our emotional characteristics, the way our mind works, everything that makes us a human being is coded within the DNA. And if we had to arrange this recipe book for human life and write it all out, like all the sequences of DNA that makes a human being, it would be as many words as 800 Bibles. If you look at the Christian tradition, 800 Bibles stacked together. So you can see what a huge book of life it is, the human genome. The human genome is another name for the DNA recipe book for human life, the genome. It's a big, big writing written by God. Imagine a person trying to figure that one out. It can only have been put together by a divine creator. Really, when you think about it, this recipe book for human life. Now, the recipe book for human life, all these words that we call the DNA code are translated by something called messenger RNA. And the messenger RNA goes to work, I'm speaking in a very simplified way, but goes to work and decodes the code of the DNA and translates it into amino acid coding. And you know, the amino acids are the protein building blocks of the body. So the DNA code, which is these DNA words, the codons, is translated by the messenger RNA into strings, long strings of amino acid coding. And this, it's the amino acid coding that says, okay, we make her hair black, and this is how it's created organically. So it's the structure of the body and everything about the human body, not just physical structure, everything that makes us uniquely human. And everything that makes us uniquely human is contributed to by the DNA that we receive from our mother and our father. And within every one of the trillions of cells in the body, there is a pair. There is the DNA of the mother and the father. There is 23 chromosomes which are paired, one set from the mother and one set from the father. 46 chromosomes in total. What we're going to be working with today is the matrilineal DNA, which is the DNA from our mother, okay, within each of the cells of the body. But we must not forget that we also have what's called a soul DNA. Now, the soul DNA is like the coding of the soul from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. There is an energy vibration, I call it soul DNA, which comes into the physical body, which is the soul's contribution. If you look at our pyramid of human life, you could say that we have on the left-hand side the mother foundation, on the right-hand side the father, and at the top of the pyramid, the soul. Our soul's contribution, Spirit have told me, is 4/5 the amount of importance to the other 5th contribution of our mother and our father, because the contribution of our soul to our DNA code is what creates the difference in families, it is what is creating the difference in us. And it's those vibrations that come with the soul aspect of us which add the most weight to who we are in this lifetime. It's coming from our soul. The physical characteristics and other characteristics that we have are coming from our parents, but very, very strongly it's coming from the soul. So if we get to this time now of activating more of true human DNA potential, the first thing that Spirit need to do is to get more energy coming through our physical bodies, because if we can't pull the energy of coding through that's, they say, is coming from the heart center of the 22 galaxies, this powerhouse of God creation coming from the center of 22 galaxies, not just our Milky Way galaxy. This is like upping the ante in terms of creation. And in 2013, a Stargate opened called the Stargate of Aldebaran after the shift. And the Stargate of Aldebaran allowed much more powerful energy to come through, to begin to come through and to flood this galaxy and to stream to the Earth. Now, the reason why Earth is so important is because Earth has as its heart, right in the centre of the Earth, a place called Amenti. And Amenti is a place of powerful new creation. It's a place of creation. Amenti holds a lot of secret knowledge, actually, that I'm told, which hasn't really been able to be tapped into and accessed yet. It will be able to be tapped into and accessed when the people who are meant to tap into it have the required vibration. It's like we can't turn the key in the lock of hidden knowledge until we are vibrating at the resonance that will unlock it. You see? So this is why in the first part of the program today, I was really pushing this bit about creating, deliberately creating the vibrations of peace, of love, of joy. And I teach a lot of it about that with my work. I have. I teach a creation called the Magenta Pyramid, which is on my website. And the Magenta Pyramid powerfully pumps peace, love, and joy through our physical bodies, because when we think these vibrations, we are becoming these vibrations, you see. We are in training with these vibrations. What I try to do each day is meditate for 22 minutes with that Magenta Pyramid twice a day if I can get to it, because that's the only thing that can keep my energy high enough to do the work that I'm asked to do. Because there's so many other energies around us on the planet all the time. It's like we're an energy soup, melting pot. So to get our own energy up, we have to consciously create these vibrations. And we do it, it's not that difficult. It's just a matter of a bit of disciplined practice, really. But it's another whole story. So to go back to the DNA, 23 chromosomes. We're going to work today, the Spirit want me to work today with chromosome number 5. They say that chromosome number 5 is foundational for new energy. I looked up a bit about chromosome number 5. And chromosome number 5, if there's a disorder, one of the disorders with chromosome number 5 is Crohn's disease. So I'd love to know if anybody in this room suffers from Crohn's disease, which is a disorder of the bowel. You don't have to put your hand up right now, but if you would tell me later if you suffer from Crohn's disease, because the energies that are going to be brought through today, they say will work specifically with this disorder and heal it. Because what I feel we will be able to do in the years ahead is correct DNA disorders, where there's chromosomal disorders, just with energy. And I have to say to you, quite honestly, I'm at the very early stages of this. So today I'm speaking to you what I'm getting, but I have yet to demonstrate it. Okay? And so I just want you to take in the energy and see what it does to you. And then if you feel you've changed, I'd like you to tell me about it. Okay? So chromosome 5 is about its foundation. It's about energy foundation. It's about upping the ante with the amount of energy that we're able to create within our bodies. And the energy powerhouse within every cell of the body is the mitochondria. Okay? Within every cell of the body, there's an energy powerhouse, creates energy for all the functions of the human body within the mitochondria. And it's interesting that within the mitochondria, there is also DNA, and it's only matrilineal DNA from the mother. So I found it quite interesting when Spirit told me we're working only with matrilineal DNA within the cells when we come to recoding this DNA. So, these words that I speak, and in Christian tradition anyway, it talks about in the beginning was the Word. So we're now at a new beginning. And so there's new words going to be coming through, because words are energy. Words are sound. Words are vibration. When we speak, if we say words like, I am happy and well every day, then we tend to become happy and well. If we say words like, I never feel well, then we never feel well. We have to become very careful about the words that we speak. Words are very, very powerful. So these words that I'm going to be speaking are coming from this heart centre of the 22 galaxies. They're also very powerful. And they're coming through, it's not a language, as I said earlier, that I've ever learned. It's a language which is transmitted. And that's honestly, that's the only reason I know that it's true to tone, because I'm not doing it, you see. I'm just opening my mouth and trusting the words that come. And you'll notice that when I speak these words, there's a slight delay. You notice that? Like, there's a slight delay and then the words come. And I don't know in advance when the words are going to come. Right? Just before we start with this, I'd appreciate it if you would just switch your phones off. Would you? Anybody? The core. So this core star is like a core note of our soul. And if we've had a lot of soul trauma in previous lifetimes, that note will have a lot of maybe some distortion in it, a bit off pitch. So we're just going to harmonize this. Aka, 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 aka. So what you might have experienced then is a funny feeling of balancing. Anybody feel that? Like something balancing there? Did? Okay. You may not have felt it yet, but it's like a feeling of knitting together in some way. That will also affect, that balancing will also affect balance in life. It will make more harmony and balance in life. And also because the core star is like the note of our being, distortion in the core star is reflected up through every part of our body. So that's why Spirit are working deeply with that core soul note before we work with the mitochondria. Because it's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. If there's distortion way down there in that core soul note, that energy distortion will flow up through our physical body. See? So now we work with the mitochondria within every cell of the body in a more balanced way. So if you just maybe shut your eyes and just put your hands palm up. Remember, you don't have to do anything. It's not anything about being loving or thinking certain thoughts. The energy will do what it's doing without our mind.
Mukula kubi shota ta kule shonia. Adre da betu da betu asun meda. Ada beda da betu da da ki. Ida betu da beda ko to ki. Or da betu da betu ki. Da betu da betu ki da betu ki. Da betu da betu ki. Da betu da betu ki. Da tipi da betu ki da betu ki. Da betu da betu ki. Da betu da betu ki. Da betu ki.
Who feels, just put your hand up, who feels a bit tingly now? Like energy, tingling. So I'm asking the question, okay, is what we're doing permanent? Or is it just because we're doing it this afternoon? What happens now? It's permanent. The most important thing about maintaining the entrainment of the energies that we're bringing through today is how we think. Okay? So this is why if you can sit for even 11 minutes is minimum every day, and focus on peace, love and joy. Get your vibration up. All the good work that Spirit are bringing through today will be able to do its job and continue to do its job. If we get into thoughts of fear, anger, worry, it's like pulls down the fabric of our being. You know what I'm talking about. If our mind starts getting out of control, and if we start getting into lower vibrational thought form states. Worry, fear, anxiety, negative talk about ourselves and about our life. This is pulling down the fabric of our being. It's pulling down our energy. It's pulling down our health, actually. See how it does that? Because it's putting a lot of what's called incoherent vibrations through our body. You know what the difference is between coherent? Coherent vibrations are peace, love, unity, those good fuzzy feelings. Incoherent vibrations are fear, worry, stress, negative thinking, anger. You know, we try to be good people, so we don't think nasty thoughts about others usually, but we think a lot of nasty thoughts about ourselves. And those destructive, sabotaging thoughts about ourselves, they're the ones that we have to nip in the bud, you know. We have to pull out these weeds from our consciousness. And I've found, I've got a fair few weeds in mine. You know, I can be a bit hard on myself. So when these weeds start to get out of control, the best possible thing is to do this morning and night practice where we create the Magenta pyramid of the peace, love and the joy. And that keeps our vibration high, keeps our vibration vibrating at that rate that it needs to vibrate at. Because as I said earlier, we can only do what we've come to do to the level of our own energy. I'll say that again. We can, if you have a role to play, spiritual, healing, whatever, on the planet, we can only do what we've come to do to the level of our own energy. So we all have to, me included, pull ourselves up and practice living in high vibrational states more of the time. And this little routine that Spirit gave me of creating the Magenta pyramid, which is on my website, of peace, love and joy, is a really quick way of getting your energy up. Because what you do is you create the vibration of joy and let it trickle down. We'll do it in a little bit after we finish with this. So, that when things get crazy on the planet, which they may well do, who knows, crazier, we can detach from that craziness and just continue to hold the light of, oh well, this is illusion land anyway, it's not real. It's the way we view it. You know, if we get all embroiled down into what a lot of people in America are doing now, into this drama of, you know, protests and da-da-da. Like it's so counterproductive and so completely opposite to what they actually want. So, like when I had water coming up through the bathroom door in Sri Lanka, Paradise Land, I got really crabby. You know, I don't normally get like that, but it's like every nasty, crabby streak in me suddenly came up and hit me. And then I had all these taxi drivers that took me to the wrong place and overcharged me, and I wanted to go on this wonderful tour. I went up to Kandy, you see, from Colombo, and I wanted to see all these temples and about 8 different things on the way, and the taxi driver didn't take me to any of them. And I couldn't believe it, it was like crazy. And he would keep saying to me, oh no, my daughter can take you tomorrow. Little money, little money. And I kept thinking, who's in charge of this tour? Who's paying the money for it? So you can see how my spirit brought me this whole litany of stressful situations. Not just one, but probably 50 of them. Over 2 weeks, I thought I was going completely crazy. You know, I had this lovely man, I'm sure he was a lovely man, but he followed me all around the beach in Mount Lavinia, swearing undying love and wanting to marry me. Eventually I had to go in one hotel on the beach and out the back door. Truly. Crazy stuff, like beyond crazy. So, I think, so now having got here to Singapore, which is not like that at all, nothing, with all due respect to Sri Lanka, it's a beautiful, beautiful country, it was crazy for me. I can look back and I can see why that happened. It was about me wising up to the fact that I had to control my thoughts. To be honest, it was like on thought overdrive. So that's sometimes why it happens like this. And to realise that, have that realisation so that I could share it with you today. Because quite honestly, you know, Spirit has said to me, there's all this knowledge within you that you have to bring out. I have the faintest idea about what it is. How do you know? And it feels quite demanding and stressful at times to have some sort of mission that you're meant to be doing, you don't know what it is or how to do it. You can just, you know, you can just walk 1 foot at a time, can't you? And then the next piece of the puzzle is shown to us. So, it's 5 o'clock now. And I'll share with you that when I had food poisoning and the guy was racing around after me on the beach and the water was coming up through the floor, I was not doing it. So I'll be honest with you. I'm just as human as you are, you know. But all of us, we have things that we're here on earth to do, and we just have to gear ourselves up and be the best that we can be. So shut your eyes and put your hands over your heart chakra. So looking down at your body, imagine that there's a beautiful magenta, purple-pink, coloured pyramid, and it's just coming down over the top of your head, and the base of the pyramid is level with the upper heart chakra, just below the clavicles at the top of your chest. And the apex of the top of the pyramid is about 2.5 feet above the head. So just feel that vibration. Purple is transformation and pink is love. So looking down at your body, just imagine that you're placing in the lower left-hand base of the pyramid a vibration of peace. Feel peace. Think peace. And what you'll notice is that there's a buzzy, you probably feel a buzzy feeling in your body. That's the peace vibration. Everybody feel that? Like a feeling of buzzy, quite a nice warm fuzzy feeling really. That's the peace vibration. Now, understand and really get that you are creating that peace vibration. You are the God creator. You are doing the creation. Spirit aren't doing it, you are. So imagine that you're sending that peace vibration, like the rays of the sun, out through every part of your body. So it's flowing out through your body, this beautiful peace vibration. Now, if we work with this peace vibration and this trinity of vibrations, you can also send it to a part of your body that needs healing. or to an emotion that you don't like to feel. So if you're feeling a particular emotion that's really making you feel out of sorts, send that peace feeling to that emotion, that thought form. It's not real, it's illusion. Send the peace vibration.